Hey there, welcome to LSAT Demon Daily. I'm Nathan Fox. With me today, I have Sam Chen. Sam is a longtime listener and Demon user. In fact, I'm just going to dive right into Sam's email and then we'll chat a bit. So, Sam, your email here says, "Hi, Ben and Nathan. I'm a longtime listener and Demon user. You guys changed my life. I had a diagnostic of 139, and then you put in all caps, not great. After 16 months of studying and 4 official attempts, I got a 164. And then you also very kindly put, I want to give a shout out to all the awesome Demon tutors that helped me. And you named them all: Logan, Matt, Ruth, Carl, David, Caitlin, Sophie, Rebecca, Dylan, Elizabeth, and Abigail."
Yes.
Beautiful. Talk about that process. You improved by 25 points. You must feel great.
Yes. English is not my native language. I came to the US when I was 18. I started speaking English then. So I've only been using this language for about 12 years.
Wow.
So yeah, my diagnostic was was really low, and I didn't really know what it meant at the time. But I just knew, I just listened to you and Ben talk about, yes, this is a learnable test. As long as you put work into it. And this is a test of English. It's a language. If you can learn, if you really, pay attention. And I went to college for that, and I did see improvement.
Tell me a little more about that. You went to college for language? Is that what you said?
No, I came to the US for college. And I didn't, so because in China, I'm from China, we just didn't really speak English at all. We learned some classes, but it was a different experience. So the first two, I took LSAT 4 times. The first 2 times I got 148 and 147. The first 2 months, I started studying around April 2021. I signed up with the basic plan. Within 2 months, my score increased about 9 points. Mostly was because my understanding in the games.
Where did you start on the games? What was your performance on the games when you first saw the LSAT?
I think my diagnostic, I basically guessed everything because I just did not. I thought it was very interesting, the concept, but I couldn't wrap my head. I don't know how to solve these puzzles, but I knew I would want to learn about that. So I think the first 2 months, I because of my interest, I paid a lot of more attention in games, and therefore my score increased. Then I spent another 5-6 months with a life plan. Because I wasn't truly honest with myself. Like you and Ben, you guys had really good advice. I heard them. I did not listen to them.
What do you mean?
Focus on accuracy, 1 question at a time. I wasn't very honest with myself. I was hoping, going to classes would help me understand more. I didn't really put much work into it. It was kind of sporadic. One day I can do an hour. On the weekends, I do maybe like a day, 2-3 hours, but it wasn't consistent. And my practice score, I saw some improvement in my practice scores, but I was hovering around like 150, low 150s.
Okay.
I couldn't make that jump. And the second time I took LSAT was in November 2021, and my score actually went down 1 point. I got 147.
Okay.
I was really discouraged.
Yeah, I mean, you knew our perspective at that time, right? Like you'd heard us say, hey, there's a lot of randomness, so 1 point down doesn't really mean anything. Were you able to feel that or not? Maybe not. Maybe it's just
no,
so devastating.
It was more like I wasn't ready. I was not supposed to take that. The first two LSAT, I took it prematurely, honestly. Like, again, you guys, the advice was make sure your practice scores are consistent. I heard it again, but did not follow that advice.
Let me clarify a little bit. I don't really talk about consistency, but I do talk about an overall like high level of performance. I mean, if you're not regularly scoring pretty high, not necessarily consistently, I don't really care if there's up and down in your scores, but some of those scores need to be good enough scores that you would feel comfortable applying to law school. And if not, then there's no point in taking the official test. So I think what you're saying is that your upside really wasn't established at that point. You hadn't had enough good practice tests on record. Am I right?
Yes. No, I did not have those.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So the turning point was the beginning of 2022. I work full time too. So I work in healthcare. So it has been pretty stressful during the pandemic, but I started to manage my time better. I put LSAT as my priority. I took more paid days off, vacations to really study for this test. And I really started doing one question at a time, really using the ask button and ask questions where I didn't ask specific questions. And I hired Logan as a private tutor for about, I think, 4 months. And we did logic reasoning and reading comprehension, because these are at the time, my really weak sections. Game was a little better. And around for about consistently 4 or 5 months from like February to March, I started to see my practice scores getting to where I want to be, which were like low 160s, and sometimes I could get to high 160s, and once in a while I get to 172, but I think that was randomness. And I took the June 2021 LSAT, but I experienced some test anxiety and I flunked a game. I knew I flunked a game.
You flunked the game? What happened, do you think?
It was like the fourth game. It was one of those like quirky games. I just kind of panicked a little bit. Yeah. I knew I put a lot of pressure on myself. I have to be perfect on games. I was trying to solve it, but I just froze. Okay. So I signed up for August really quickly after that.
What did you get on that test?
The June test?
Yeah.
June, I got 158.
158. Okay. But you were, you registered immediately to take it again. And that's going to be your fourth event, your fourth attempt coming up. Did you do anything differently between your third attempt and your fourth attempt?
The only difference, I just still stick with my regimen, studied every day, kicked my husband out on every Saturday while I'm doing my practice test. But the only difference I did was on the test day in August. In order to calm myself down, I started to like bounce a tennis ball on the wall during breaks. Okay. Just kind of distracted myself and not think about a test and just kind of relax a little bit and not think about what's next. And
so you have you have a tennis ball during your official test and you're bouncing it off of the wall. Is that an approved piece of equipment for the law school admission test?
They didn't say that was improved, but I was only using it during breaks. Okay. So I'm not sure.
But in the room, from your desk, you're doing it while you're sitting down? Yeah, just from my desk. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, Proctor and the wall in front of me and just doing that. Yeah.
Okay.
And again, on that test, the last game was kind of a little like random, one of those random games. You can't really create worlds on it, but I just really focused and understood the rules, and then solved and was able to answer all the questions.
So you solved the whole section on games, which you knew you could do. You had done that repeatedly in your practice over the weeks and months.
Yes.
Okay, so that went great.
Yeah. And I thought about doing it again, taking my 5th attempt, but I just the schools I'm applying for right now are I think I have enough, and I want to live a life a little bit. So I want to, so I decided to stop.
So you're applying right now with your 164, even though you have one more attempt at least, if you wanted to. Okay, cool. 25-point improvement. That's amazing. I'm sure people want to know where you're applying, or how many schools at least you're applying to.
I have about 20 schools on my list. I'm applying pretty much all the schools in New York and DC. I'm hoping to stay in the East Coast. Okay. I'm working with Anne Levine. She's the law school expert. Her book, her 5th edition book just came out also. She's great.
She's been on the Thinking LSAT podcast many times. Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And thanks for you guys introducing her to my life. Yes.
It's 20 schools, and you're in the process of doing that right now. Fantastic.
Yes.
How, as far as your LSAT prep goes, Sam, how many hours were you practicing? How many days a week? And just, I know you already kind of went through the timeline, but to tell the listeners, to give them a sense of the scope of what you did, how long did it take, and how many hours per day per week?
For the whole 16 months, I would say the latter 10 months, when I got really serious about and also prioritized doing this test, being consistent about my study regimen, my study schedule was about 1 or 2 hours a day. I did it usually in the morning when I am at my best. Because I work, so sometimes I try to do it in the morning, but if I can't, I would do 1 in the morning and 1 at night after work. Yeah. On weekdays, Monday to Friday. And on Saturday, I would take a practice test. And then Sunday, I would do my review. Consistently, I did that for at least 10 months.
So what was the estimate then, hours per week?
Like around 20
hours a week for about 8 months. Okay.
10, more than
10 months. Yeah. Sorry. 20 hours a week for 10 months. I think that's coming pretty close to about 1,000 hours. Does that sound right?
20. I'm not great at math, but
a full-time job for a year is 40 hours a week times 50 weeks, and that's 2,000 hours. So if you studied for 10 months, 20 hours a week, I would say that that's pretty clearly over 1,000 hours total investment. It sounds like a lot, I think, for many students. But I want people to really understand what kind of a life-changing improvement you have made, Sam, on your LSAT. With a 139, you're getting in almost nowhere.
Yeah.
Of course, you're getting no scholarship money anywhere, and you're really just not getting into very many credible law schools with a 139. And with a 25-point improvement up to a 164, not only are you getting in, but you're getting scholarship offers almost guaranteed from many different schools. You haven't applied yet, but I'm sure you've been on the LSAT Demon scholarship estimator.
Yes, I've been using it. And from the schools ranked around like 50 to 100, I can get sizable scholarships, more than half, or depends on where they are. Sometimes a full tuition.
Yeah, I mean, depending on where you apply, I would guarantee that you are going to get multiple different full ride scholarship offers. I'm pretty certain that that is what's going to happen. Unless, if you only applied to schools in the top 14, or if like you just applied to the top 20 schools in the country or whatever, then no. But if you apply to schools that are, especially, you're geographically focused, there's tons of law schools in New York, there's tons of law schools in DC. If you're willing to go to move potentially to either of those places, then yeah, it's just going to be it's going to be a buyer's market for you. It's not a buyer's market for everyone, but you've done everything correctly. You took your time, you didn't rush into it, you improved your LSAT dramatically, and now you're at the point where it's inevitable that you're going to get fantastic offers from schools that would have denied you 10 months ago. You're now going to get a full ride. Can you name just one school that's on your list? Middle of your range type of a school.
So from the schools I'm applying to, St. John would give me a full ride. I have a list somewhere.
No, that's perfect. All we need is one. I mean, so I just want to look at St. John's right now on the scholarship estimator, or actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at their 509 report. But St. John's University. And we haven't talked about your grades, Sam. What's your undergraduate GPA?
Not great. 3.14.
3.14. Okay. So you're below the 75th or the 25th percentile.
Yes.
At St. John's. What did you study though?
Communication and film studies. Okay.
Communications and film. All right. So with grades below their 25th percentile at St. John's, with a 139 or even a 149, I think you're going to be a clear denial at that school. Yeah. But with a 164, you're now at their 75th percentile. So you're a splitter at a school like St. John's. But because your LSAT is really strong, they're going to be much more willing to accept that lower GPA. And let's see. So that school they give scholarships to 72% of their class. So of course, the people who are at their 75th percentile for LSAT are going to get some kind of an offer. They end up giving 38% of their class at St. John's. 38% of the school is there on a full tuition scholarship. Another 1% of the school is there on a more than full tuition scholarship. And that's the type of school where if they don't give you, 3/4 tuition or more, I think you clearly are going to end up going somewhere else. It's a fine school. I'm sure it'll do what you need done as far as your career aspirations are concerned. But that's just not the kind of school where an applicant like you should have to pay $65,500. That's resident and non-resident tuition. It's just $65,500 plus another $1,100 in fees, $1,200 in fees. So yeah, we're knocking on the door of $70,000, and you could have got into St. John's maybe with a 158. But
maybe,
taking it one more time and getting that 164, I just can't wait to see what your offers are, Sam.
I'm excited.
That is fantastic. Anything else that you feel like you really want to share with the audience before we wrap it up?
Just want to really thank you guys. I enjoying this journey. I work better now.
What do you mean?
I'm more disciplined. I think also there's actually an article Logan shared with me after our sessions that LSAT changes your brain and you become a more logical person, more analytical. Yep. I can feel that now, and I like this part of myself, and I look forward to my education. And thanks to you guys. listen to the advice, listeners. Don't just hear it, really listen to it.
Let me ask you.
All the wisdoms are there.
All right. That's too much. Thank you. Yeah. Too much.
Okay.
Let me ask you this. Have you started, are you like completely insufferable yet when it comes to watching TV, when you see news articles, or especially when you see commentary or when you see commercials? Do you find yourself being angry about the bad logic that you see everywhere? Has that infected
all the time?
Yeah,
all the time now. And sometimes, even my husband, if he says something, I'm like, okay, but you didn't say there's a gap. But I think that's a kind of a hazard too. Can't argue with your loved ones, all the time. But yes, I do see that, and my brain just goes off all the time now.
Hopefully, you can keep that to just lawyer Sam. Only lawyer Sam will do those things, and then like home Sam, you might just silence that hypercritical part of your brain that you have developed apparently with LSAT studying. Okay, let's wrap it up there. Thank you, Sam. It was really nice talking to you. Thank you for your thoughtful email and for wanting to share your story with all of our listeners. I hope you'll keep in touch. Obviously, Sam, connect to me on LinkedIn or whatever. I want to follow your career. And, now once your applications are in, we just sit back and wait for the offers to come pouring in. So I hope, at the end of your cycle, you will just remember us and send us an email with like, here are my best offers. I really enjoy seeing what schools people get to pick and choose from at the end of this process when they do it right.
I will.
And you certainly
Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you, Sam. Okay.
Thank you.
Listeners, viewers, email daily@lsatdemon.com if you'd like to share a success story or if you'd like to ask us a question or share some LSAT or law school admissions news. Thanks for listening.